Gazing down from a bluff into moving water in bright Argentinian sunlight, it took a moment to make sense of all that we were seeing. Okay, those are rainbow trout, and they all seem to be very large, and there appears to be no end to the procession of fish moving up the lower Barrancoso River. How many are there? You try and count. That was our welcome to Lago Strobel, better known as Jurassic Lake, which is located in southern Argentine Patagonia. As a first-timer here, the scene of overwhelming bounty left me speechless, other than to mutter softly to myself, I can't believe what I'm seeing. As we move down the river, you see Jurassic Lake Lodge to the left, and you get an idea of the rugged, rocky terrain that is often described as looking like the surface of Mars. You also catch a glimpse of the emerald green lake, the breadbasket for this amazing fishery, which is where most of the catching takes place. 15 minutes earlier, our twin-engine plane from El Calafate had touched down on a dirt landing strip. We loaded our gear into a truck and bounced down a dusty road toward the lodge, when the driver pulled over to offer us this view. It was quite the introduction to this amazing lake and river, with its remarkable population of large rainbows. It was as if we were catching a glimpse of the world before humankind had had a chance to gallop roughshod over hill and dale. The irony was that these fish had been planted by humans. The sight of these fish made the Jurassic moniker bestowed on the lake and its trout seem appropriate. It's almost like a prehistoric experience, said Roger Gillespie, a die-hard rainbow angler who owns a lodge in Alaska. The land that's been forgotten. To further this sense of a forgotten world, ancient petroglyphs and engravings, dating back perhaps 9,000 years, have been found around the lake. This is old, wind-sculpted country, where beauty hides in the sparseness of the land, and time unfolds in a way we are unfamiliar with. We'd come here for the large rainbows, and we were not disappointed. Everyone caught well, as this collection of images illustrate. Where else in the world do you put a 12-pound rainbow back into the water without a photo? Asked Pat Ford, who had caught a half dozen fish estimated to be about 20 pounds. If you caught that fish in Montana, they'd be singing songs about you. The trout were big and beautiful and strong, nothing dainty about them. They leapt, ripped off line, thrashed, flipped, shook their heads, double-backed, and pulled some more. They broke hooks and leaders and a few hearts. Most everyone fished 8-weights and floating lines in the lake, with tippets between 10 and 15 pounds. They're like iron, said Ari Rosenberg, a 25-year-old snook angler from Florida. They were aggressive and loud and in your face. It was like opening a portal to a new world. My view is forever skewed, he said. So is mine. We had 2 to 3 foot waves rolling at us that reminded me of fall fishing in New England, except that the bark of these lake waves was worse than their bite. The waves are newborns, without the fetch or distance needed to develop the strength of an ocean swell. The wind, on the other hand, was no imposter. There were times when it blew into the 50s, which was the consensus of a dozen well-traveled anglers. Some thought it blew harder. Maybe it did, but it gets to the point where it really doesn't matter. There was a whiteboard at the lodge on which someone had written, "Make friends with the wind." It's good sentiment, and we repeated it with a healthy dose of sarcasm whenever the wind was trying to blow us off our feet. By the end of the first full day, each of us had made our separate peace with the Patagonian wind gods. As a right-hander, I was thankful the prevailing northwest winds were mostly on my left arm. But a determined angler who can double haul can get a fly out far enough, even during the worst of it, style points notwithstanding. Persistence mattered. Snow squalls swirled around the lodge during one breakfast. You could see the front moving down the lake, and in an instant the far shore disappeared behind a gray screen of wind-blown snow and spray. Variety keeps things interesting. The fish homed in from all directions on the lake's sole spawning river. Wading across the shallow mouth and having 10, 12, and 15-pound trout bump into your waders was a new experience. The trout often piled up outside the mouth, waiting for their turn to start another leg of their journey. Jurassic Lake Lodge was welcoming, comfortable, and the food and conversation was very good. The rainbows here will eat a variety of dry streamers and nymphs. A hot fly usually emerges over the course of a week, and the lodge offers a good selection, many of them tied by manager Llewellyn Clavin, a South African who cut his teeth in the Seychelles. Clavin has 2 rules for the dining room protocol: no politics and no cell phones, unless they are for showing fish pictures. The phrase, trip of a lifetime, has been used so often it's become a cliche, but this journey deep into southern Argentina is one I can't stop thinking about.